start and reinforce that what we're going to focus on today is only the capabilities of these three firms, Accenture, Deloitte, and IBM, as it relates to the S/4HANA implementations. I mean, we know that they clearly do a lot more than that, but in order to be able to make our analysis crisp and to the point and I'll call it meaningful for our clients, we decided to focus on the S/4HANA implementations. The other thing that I'm going to call out is we're going to focus on the tendencies of each one of these firms as they go into an engagement. It's fair to say that each firm, as they approach an individual engagement, is going to put together a game plan, and our analysis really is more on the tendencies. Each one of these firms clearly could differ in their approach to a particular client, so take that as you listen to our analysis today. The first thing I want to reflect on is as we came to the end of the conclusion of what we've put together, each one of the firm's tendencies tends to reflect to a certain extent how it began. Accenture as a services firm, Deloitte as an accounting firm, and IBM as a platform firm. And as you think about the analysis and as you think about what we're going to talk about today, kind of bear that in mind that those beginnings are in their DNA.
So what you see here is we've outlined and we'll provide thoughts with respect to differentiation that you see during phase zeros. That's the strategy and planning phase when you're driving the business case. Through the RFP process, through the award to contract to explore, the ramp-up stage of this, and then also post-delivery. And we advise our clients through the entire life cycle of this.
You're trying to make sure that you've got a level of detail on the business case that will satisfy the board to get a project approved. The second thing that we advise our clients on is you want to make sure that you're coming out of this phase zero with sufficient information that is going to allow you to RFP the next phase in order to be able to maintain your leverage. Now, I also want to speak about the estimated implementation costs, because as you come out of these engagements or as you come out of a phase zero, one of the most important things is how much is this going to cost me? One of the things that we're able to do is to capture what costs were put forward at the beginning of the engagement or at the beginning of the program, and what did the clients actually end up with at the end of the engagement itself.
In every one of the firms, Accenture, Deloitte, and IBM are going to have various relationships and various levels of influence within your organization, obviously. And what we try to reflect upon is where those relationships exist, what are those points of entries. In terms of summarizing the takeaways for each of the three firms, I think from an Accenture point of view, what John and I kind of debated pretty heavily, even with the rest of the team as well, is that they're certainly going to be focused on the journey. They're going to exhibit a desire for a higher degree of control. John talked about the levels of contingencies. They're certainly going to be premium priced, but they're willing to take on more risk. From a Deloitte perspective, certainly the business case has been very appealing, and the business case focus is very appealing to many of our clients. The fact that Deloitte does it a little bit more shoulder to shoulder versus doing it kind of to you, if you will, is definitely could be an appealing aspect of it. The call out that I think we would make here, though, is that they are going to try to mitigate risk contractually. So that's a key aspect of it. They'll compete on blended rate versus actual individual rates. So I think it's important, to Dave's point, to drive that transparency on a rate-to-rate basis. And then they're going to leverage relationships. They do a very good job of leveraging relationships at a senior level. And, on occasion, we've seen CIOs spending more time with their executive leaderships trying to defend themselves against the position that Deloitte might be taking in a project that is going the wrong direction. I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but that's just the reality of what we see on occasion. And then from an IBM perspective, we've seen a lot of recent IBM wins, which have been very effective wins coming out of primarily relationships that have been driven by the Office of the CIO in these, the ECC to S4 upgrades. And I won't repeat all the things that are on here, but, they're relatively predictable as it relates to how they execute, their focus, how they compete, and how they're going to actually contract with you.